Bring it down. Bring it down. There you go.
All right.
Check. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
A little bit of clipping, but not
Blah
bad.
blah blah. I won't be as that loud. I'll sit
There we go.
off the mic quite a bit.
Off the mic quite a bit.
Off the mic quite a bit.
There we go. Jared, check your levels.
How's that working?
You gotta talk a little louder,
Are
bud.
we good there? What about now?
Yeah, that's pretty loud.
Yeah, we're good there?
We're doing pretty good.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk like this all the time.
All right.
We're very yelly in this studio.
This is great.
There we go.
Hang on.
We're very professional here.
I see that.
Extraordinarily.
Man, I can't believe you're doing the whole webcam thing.
Yeah, I figured why not.
Why not, hey?
Got to get something up on the
It's
YouTube
not
channel.
often.
Yeah, there you go.
Not often you get two Harmses in one booth.
Well, and this is podcast number 4. We don't have anything up on the channel yet. So
That's true.
So
Yeah.
you'd like to
Going
get
for a
something
video.
set up online.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. A little side project thing.
I'm already branded. So
Are you?
Yeah.
What's your brand?
Jinks.
Nice. Sweet.
So we're on Twitter. Got
Yeah.
SoundCloud. In the middle of making a website.
Cool.
Everything. YouTube channel's there. Just no videos on it yet.
Gotcha.
So this will probably be
So working
first
on it.
video. So this is.
Yeah.
Are we gonna count this as Jinks?
Video number 1.
We actually can, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start off then. So we're here in the studio now with kind of an off-the-rails segment. I'm Matt Harms with Jared Marshall, and today we got Brody Jackson from QX104. Brody, how's it going, bud?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah,
How
you
are
look
doing?
very energetic for a guy who just ended work.
Yeah,
A little tired.
a little nap in my head going on right now. But yeah, no, life is good.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
reading
like-
some kids.
Reading to some children, yeah.
Nice.
Grabbed the 50 Shades of Grey, went down right to the school. Did a couple, no, I didn't read that actually. Today it was a book about dogs.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
In one class. The other one was about dragons.
Oh, dragons.
Yeah, and then the other one was about a whole bunch of different animals. Kids love
Very
animals.
multicultural.
Was
Yeah.
it,
Very
was it about
multicultural.
dogs that go,
Dogs that go to the bathroom?
or just go dog go?
Oh, no. C-spot run.
C-spot.
Run,
Yeah.
spot, run.
Run, spot, run.
No, it
You
was...
must have had troubles with that one, eh?
Yeah.
Stuttering over the pages.
Man, let me tell you, those books that the kids get these days are just incredible.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you're an adult, none of them have pictures anymore.
No.
But all of them have pictures.
You know what? I would read 50 Shades of Grey if it had a picture book to go along with it. I would do that. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be the only thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that. You would probably last about 5 minutes with that book. You would never get through it.
I'm a fast reader, Brody. What can I say?
Your pages would get stuck.
Yeah, I was going to say, after 5 minutes, you'd be done with it. You'd never be able to read it again.
Yeah. They're done.
Into the carburetor. Right, next book, round 2, phase 2. Here we go.
All class, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, we're both kind of interested in going to radio here. That's kind of what we're doing here. How did you get started? Like, you had a very interesting trip.
Yeah.
What kind of inspired you to start it?
When I was 17, I was looking into going into what I wanted to do after school. My parents were trying to convince me to go into broadcasting, and I basically told them to go screw themselves, piss up a rope. I want to try something different. I wanted to go into acting, so I did that in Vancouver. I lasted 3 months at the U of M, and then and dropped out, and then went to Vancouver. Was there for about 9 years doing acting, and then, in other words, I was a really good bartender.
Yeah.
And then decided from there I had to do something else because I didn't want to be a 40-year-old bartender down the road, and that's where I thought my acting career was going. So I got had a regular who did the morning show out there for Team 1040, and David Pratt and Joe Leary, and they asked me to come sit in their studio just to see what radio is like. So I did that, and I was like, oh my God, so you guys get paid to sit in here and tell jokes? And this is your environment, and this is what you do for 4 hours a day? I'm in. So how do I do it? So I did what you guys are doing now. And I went to a school called Columbia Academy that's specialized in broadcasting. I did a 10-month course and immediately applied right out of school to a posting that was in Brandon for KX96 afternoon position. Got it, took it, moved home, dropped from the bartender salary to the radio salary. That was interesting. And then from then on, I was in radio.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was
That's
a
huge.
quick move, quick transition. I was in Brandon for about 6 months,
Yeah.
7 months, and then got the job with QX. They asked me to come to Winnipeg, so I said no because country music sucks. That was actually what I said at the time. And then my boss told me to rethink it, think about it a little bit more, and I did. And then about a month in with QX, I loved country music. Took me about a month, and then I was in love with it.
Well, I was kind of in the same boat. I remember when you hit the airwaves here in Winnipeg. It was the same thing. I never liked country either.
Yeah.
But I was tuning in to listen to you, and then slowly it grows on you, and you kind of pick it up from there. But I mean, you got to love the music your station's doing, obviously.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's like
Otherwise-
anything, right? If you sell a car, you're going to sell cars today, and you could be a Volkswagen guy, And but next thing you know, there's a job opportunity, job offer that's coming up with Chevy. So you're going to have to, no matter what, at some point in time, even if you hate Chevys, you're going to have to learn to love them to sell them. Right. So it's the same thing with music. You know, you can love rock music and despise country music, but if you want an opportunity, when that opportunity comes and you want to grab a hold of it, you got to figure out a pretty quick way to appreciate the music at least. You know, some people might not like it, but they can appreciate it or understand why the listeners do.
Right.
And you got to have some kind of faith in the product.
Forward, right? Totally. Yeah. You really have to have that. So even if tomorrow I was to get a phone call from, you know, you get a job opportunity, offer coming from a hot AC station, I'd be like, no, I hate that music, but I'll give it a shot and give it an opportunity. And I'll open myself up to that music. You have to be willing to do it. So
right.
Yeah.
Now in Brandon, you started off. That was what was the KX96?
Yeah.
The station that you were on.
Rock.
And that was a rock station.
Yes. Yeah.
And you were there for 6 months. You said.
Yeah, 6 months
before you got your kind of your opportunity to jump into the city onto a bigger market.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting too because it was. I remember the first interview that I did was with Buck Cherry.
Yes.
Right. So I'm chatting with. First interview in rock was with Buck Cherry. And it was different you know, if you're in a large market, you got all these people who take care of that for you. So if I say, okay, look, tomorrow I want to interview Keith Urban, that would be up to my PD, up to my promotions team, music director to go and get a hold of them. Well, when you're in a small market, it's all on your shoulders. You do everything. Yeah. You know, you always have 2 titles. I was in promotions. I was assistant promotions coordinator as well as the afternoon drive host, all as my first gig.
Wow.
So you did everything yourself. You set everything up. So I was like, Buck Cherry's coming to town. I got to get. Well, they're actually going to be in Winnipeg at the time for Rock the Range. So I was like, I got to set up an interview with these guys. So I set up an interview, got it done. But Josh was not having it. Like, the chat with him was just, I tried everything until finally I asked him about his tattoos. And boom, I hooked him, right? So he was right into it. But that was my first impression of a rock artist. And then I had on the Trues, who are great guys, and they're all really good dudes. But going from that and then into country music, all of a sudden it was a full 180 because these guys they're nice, they're caring, they want to chat with you. They'll take their time. One of the first interviews I had in country music was with the band Perry.
Oh yeah.
And Kimberly Perry's like,
Kimberly Perry.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah. And they walk in, and the first thing she does, she's like, how are you? And gives me a big hug. She's like, so where are you from? Are you from Winnipeg? And she starts asking me questions, and I want to get an interview prepped and ready to go, but she's asking me questions. Like, it was a full flip from meeting these rock guys who have this belief or this, you know, common thought that they have to be cool. Where in comparison to the country world,
they can just be open and whatever.
You got to be nice. You know, that's more. Yeah. You got to be genuine in country music, and that sells more records than being talented. It really does.
Do you think a lot of that is just them playing the role, or does that have to do with like?
No, I think
they're in country music, so they have to be nice, or it just
that's a good question.
Just seem to go hand in hand together.
It really is. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, obviously, you'll get a couple bad rocks out of every group, right? So it's like that in country music. You'll have guys or girls who just won't give you the time of day, or you meet them on a bad day. Like these guys are on every single day, no matter what. They always have to be. But yeah, I would say that it's probably the genre in itself, and that's what you're made to be. That's what I mean. The music speaks about. Okay, well, right now a lot of it's speaking about trucks and babes, but you know, most of the what it's based on, what country music is based on, is family. It's based on family and relationships.
Yeah,
it's it's supposed to be wholesome, good music. That's what it was all traditionally anyway. So those who grew up in the country world, nowadays they still kind of keep those values.
Yeah.
Right.
So most of them are still that way. They don't have to put on the cool face unless you're Eric Church. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. You can actually be genuine and normal. You know, the nicest guy I've ever met in country music is Keith Urban, by far. He's the nicest person you'll ever meet in the world.
I've heard nothing but good things about Keith Urban.
I don't think there's a person who could say a bad story about Keith Urban. You know, like, and that's the way that most of them are. The majority of the musicians are like that. So
just out and open. Actually, getting back to the Kimberly Perry, I had a very similar interaction with her too at Country Fest last year. I was able to get into the photo op.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not usually one to get starstruck. When I walked up there and saw her, I was just like, duh, I just froze.
Yeah.
And she comes up, she's like hugging me and talking to me, and I just turned like 50 Shades of Red.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I'm trying to talk to her. I couldn't formulate a sentence.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm supposed to get a picture with her, right? So I just like jumped right on her, and then the photo guy's like, "You want another picture? Because that was kind of creepy." So, yeah, like, oh, I'm really sorry. I'll put my hands behind my back this time. But yeah, it was the great people.
Where were your hands before that?
They were on her shoulder blades is where they
Okay.
started, and then they were getting lower to her lower back, and then that's when I got pulled away.
So,
Okay.
so no hover hand.
No hover hand. I was going
This
for the
is
full on
this
hug.
is you got evidence here on camera and on air.
Yes.
So this ever gets to JP Aaron Sebia, who is her husband, who's 6'3", baseball player.
I apologize,
Might wanna
but
do
your
something
wife
different.
is good looking.
It was just a hug.
I think he knows. I think
It
he
was
knows.
just a hug.
She's a babe.
Yeah.
She fully is. She's a sweetheart, right? And her brothers are the nicest guys too. It's
Oh,
not just
so
her.
nice.
The
No.
bros are awesome. Like
Yeah.
the entire band, and then you see it. And when they go and perform on stage, you see exactly that when they perform.
They have
Like,
the chemistry.
You're engaged. You know, you really love what they're doing on stage. So it just goes to show that's what they do. Even when we went and interviewed them beforehand, it's piss and rain outside. It's a terrible day. Everyone's cranky. Her hair could be going every which way, left, right, and center, and she's the happiest person in the world. It's unreal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She was great. And she's a babe, so
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, let alone from Country Fest and all these other interviews you do, there's other perks to your job too. Like you're doing the Jets game.
Yes.
Now that's not necessarily an affiliation with your station,
Not whatsoever.
but that's you as a brand, and
Yeah.
that's something you get to do as a radio personality. So
Yeah.
what other things are there other than the Jets?
Well, other than the Jet, like, do you mean affiliated with the station or without
Well, just
the station?
with or without,
Yeah.
just being in your position as a morning show DJ specifically.
Well, lots of hosting. It's
Yeah.
like it's hosting events continuously. Lots of charitable events.
Right.
You know, you always need an MC for a gala, for a dinner, for a fundraiser, for a bud and spud. You know, you can do everything from doing a simple 100-person bud and spud, and then the next day you're turning around and you're doing a gala for 800 people. You know, there was one, like last year I did the Daffodil Gala for the Canadian Cancer Society.
Oh, yeah.
And that fills up 800 people. So you're in the room, you're hosting it in front of 800 people. 2 weeks later, Stacy Schott, who is a younger gal who lost her father to brain cancer, she ended up putting on a fundraiser, which was just basically her friends and family, and it's like 80 people. But it was the same purpose and the same mentality of raising money. So no matter what, big or small, you want to get involved in as many of these things you can possibly do.
Right.
Now, do people like that for small events? Do they contact the radio station and be like, "Hey, we're throwing this thing. Would you mind sending down a host?
Yeah.
To kind of MC it, or do you guys hear about it through the grapevine and be like, "Well, I'd really love to be a part of that."
Some of them you jump on. I mean, it's if you're like a guy like Ace, he wouldn't need to reach out to anybody because the guy gets 100,000 emails a day
Oh, I imagine,
to host events or beat events because he's known for that, right? Whereas I know when I first got into Winnipeg, I was the one reaching out. I was going into community events in the Winnipeg Free Press to find out what was going to be happening, you know, or I would see something up on Facebook, one of those events that you got like 9,000 events, but you never say yes or no to.
Yeah.
I would be looking at those to see if there's some way I could get involved there. That's when you don't have your name out there yet, you really have to go out of your way to find stuff. And it'll only benefit you in the long run, obviously. And then now it's to the point where people will contact a radio station or they'll come to me directly via email, either or. But I find more people actually will come to me. Or like same thing with most of the hosts, like even Sam, they'll go directly to her and or myself rather than go to the station. But certain stations, certain radio companies have the mentality that, you know, you got to go through promotions first because you got to see if there's a sales aspect to it. Is there money or dollars attached to it that there should be?
Right.
And then we'll send you off and ship you off to host the event. So if they come to me, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Bypass.
Don't tell my boss that.
Nope. It's all in the deal. All in the deal. So yeah, apart from radio, let's hear about Brody as a person. So you have other skills, like you can beat me very badly in HL 15.
Yeah, but you're
There's
terrible,
that.
man. Like
That-
that's like, what
You
did
know
I
what?
beat him the other day? 14-0. 14-0 on NHL.
And you're a
15.
goalie in real life.
Yeah.
And you're,
Real life is different, but actually real life hockey is very different. I've had him out a couple of times playing, and every time I skate out, you know, it's the goalie's job. You kind of set the net, you put your stuff down, you start stretching. Every time I'm putting the posts together, this bugger's behind me taking slap shots at my ass. Yeah, he's just
gotta
it's
take
teeing
him out
up.
of your zone, right?
It's family. That's what we do in family.
Well,
I
That's
just
with
see
the
something
pit.
go by, I turn
Yeah.
around, he's got this like shit-eating grin on his face.
It's like a game. It's like whack-a-Mennonite, right? Instead of whack-a-mole, you just just whack a Mennonite with a hockey puck. It's kind of fun to do.
Exactly. Jerk. This guy's a jerk.
Oh, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, he almost beat me, though, the other night. Almost beat me in hockey. It was down to 0.1 seconds left, and I tied the game at 0.1.
And beats me in overtime.
And then beat him in overtime and laughed my face off.
Well, I kind of figured that was going to be a trend when you moved back in the city in 2011, you bugger.
Yeah.
We were doing, it was my idea. We were going to make a drinking game out of playing hockey. And back then it was NHL, I think 13 were playing.
Yeah, probably.
But they're all kind of the same. But, you're like, do a shot or a sip a goal. I'm like, no, full beer a goal. I lost 12-0. And he's got a picture of it, my 12-pack, and you had one beer open because you were thirsty.
Yes.
Like, you were getting nothing.
I had nothing going on right now at that point in time, and you were smashed. Like, it was a mess. It's like, do you need me to drive you somewhere? Because I haven't had a drink, so.
That seems to be the common thing. But I'm determined, man. I never stop smack talking you.
No, you sure don't. Yeah, you keep the smack talk going.
Yeah.
It's
nothing to back it up, but I have determination.
That lovable loser over there.
We're going to taste Spike. What's going on today's Spike?
Well, smack talk's a big part of it, right? You got to play the head games.
Yeah,
totally. Try and throw them off, but obviously in your case
never
it doesn't
happens
work yet.
whatsoever.
No.
So Matt's got to get his video game skills up and going.
Oh, I do. It's sad.
Especially if he's going to be a part of the hijinks team, you got to get some more video games in your system. So.
Yeah, we should almost take like a video,
that out,
like a 3-second video of us playing hockey. That's usually all it takes for me to be down at least 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah,
just a couple seconds.
3 seconds sounds like it could be more.
Face off right through the goalie's pads, boom, done.
Well, I've lost my ranking. I was ranked in the top 10,000.
Oh, here we go.
And now, but I went on the other day and played, and I don't know, some 10-year-old kid schooled me. So.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
Oh, they're unreal in this games, man. Like, you just go online, you play them, and it's hilarious. They just crush you.
That's like, for online, I prefer playing with my friends.
Yeah.
Because instead of playing with some random racist 12-year-old who's fucked my mom every night.
What are they yelling through these mics? Like,
I don't know.
I would never let oh, my God. Like, some of the stuff, you go play Grand Theft Auto?
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes. Like, they're they're literally yelling as if they are killing you.
Yeah.
In real life.
Like I was playing GTA 5 online last night.
Yeah.
Ran a guy off the road during a race.
Yeah.
Totally
it's legit.
coincidental.
Yes.
But
it was funny.
Yeah.
Right.
It's on a bridge. He goes flying over the bridge. I'm laughing my ass off, honking my horn as I'm driving away because it was hilarious. I hear him over the mic. He's like, man, you're fucking with the wrong idiot. Obviously not idiot, but I'm not going to say it.
Right.
But it's 10 minutes later, rest of the race, I'm still way ahead of him. Like, okay, where are you? I'm still waiting for you. I messed with you. Where are you? But just the whole race, he's just going off.
And it's a game.
Yeah,
it's like
it's a video.
How can they tell you something like and then they threaten you? And you're like, dude, it's a video. If you kill me, I'm respawning and I'm walking over here.
Yeah.
Like, why are you getting so angry about this?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Vicious on there. They're so angry. And
Yeah,
it's never a girl either, right? Because we had this discussion the other day because I saw this. Get this, okay? So. You know the trivia app? You have the Trivia Crack app,
Trivia
right?
Crack, yeah. You got me hooked on it.
Saw a story of a Trivia Crack. This couple met through Trivia Crack. Like, just through playing through, like, random. It was a different trivia app. It wasn't Trivia Crack. It's a different one. But they met on this app. And he's like, she's like, sorry I beat you so bad. And he's like, whatever. Oh, by the way, you have pretty eyes. I'm like, I don't know. Probably has like an avatar. How do you know you have pretty eyes?
Yeah.
But anyways, they ended up meeting based on this game. And they got married. So, which I thought was really interesting. So then it led me to thinking, I'm like, well, online gaming then. Maybe there's an opportunity for people and couples to meet through online gaming. But I haven't come across a female that plays Grand Theft Auto yet. So I don't think that that is on the mic. Like, I've never heard a girl's voice all of a sudden pop up and be like, I'm going to kill your ass.
Well, anytime you think it's a girl, they talk for a couple more minutes and you realize, no,
it's an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, it's a 7-year-old boy. Like, it's just brutal. Like, there used to be people meeting on World of Warcraft all the time.
See,
like,
that's right.
You know what?
World of Warcraft weddings
I've heard of that
all the time.
Yes, I've heard of that too. Actually, a funny story. My buddy was telling me about this. There was a couple that they met over World of Warcraft. They ended up moving to the same city because they were from opposite coast of the United States. Ended up living together, and they wanted to have an online wedding, in the game. So they did. So they hired a priest who had to sign on, create his own account, and they had this like wedding of their characters. And then some other asshole kind of caught wind of what was going on, so he starts running around getting all these monsters to chase him. And then he's running through the wedding. So as they're doing their vows, just like 1,000 of these like monsters are running through, like zigzagging. It was hilarious.
So did they?
So it made the paper because it was this huge upset. But I think that's. I mean,
did
if
they
you're
do
gonna
the
have
wedding night like on the video game too? Like, was it like some troll banging another troll or something?
I don't know. You know, I wasn't intended. I wasn't invited. mainly because I
It's
don't
like
have
World
the
of
game.
Warcraft porn. I don't even know.
It
That's
exists.
a lot of.
Does
a lot
it?
of-
But
really?
somehow on these podcasts we always come back to talking about
Porn.
porn.
Yeah.
Always.
happened?
But there's like live
Recurring theme.
action Warcraft porn, like World of Warcraft. But there's like nothing. Yeah, World of Warcraft, like a chick painted green, like one of the trolls, fake ears, like everything, like
It moved.
It
Yeah.
is
They got it moved,
impressive.
right? It moved? Did it move?
A little bit.
Can you hear that?
just a little.
It's a little. I like the orcs a little bit there. Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, as far as like in game, I don't think there's anything kind of like in game. You can rent like an inn together, but nothing really happens.
That'd be like
That's weird.
Like the
But it's
Sims
mostly
game,
like
right?
text. Like
Essentially,
text,
yeah.
Those old
Yeah.
chat room,
Yes, that's where.
like chat dating.
I'll tell you a funny story about something like that. I was living with my grandpa back in Brandon when I worked at QX, and I just moved in with him. And my girlfriend at the time, she comes running out of the room that Grandpa was in, and he used to always just sit there online and play different card games online, right?
Yeah.
So he'd sign into his Yahoo account, didn't really know what he was doing, but he'd play, and he'd never chat with anybody. He'd just play Hearts or whatever it was at the time. I think he was playing Crib. And I walk in there, and the man's like, you got to go see your grandpa's playing this game with. I was like, okay. So I walk into the room, and I started just killing myself laughing. He's like, what are you laughing at? I said, look who you're playing Crib with right now. He's like, what? I'm like, look at the handle. He looks at it, he reads it. He's like, Sweet Pussy 69. Like, Grandpa, you're playing with Sweet Pussy 69 right now. He's like, oh my God.
Did he win?
No, yeah, I don't
Did he
know
go
if he
all
did.
in?
Yeah,
Get all red faced. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Just
Sweet,
Right,
get
close
this thing
the
away
door.
from me.
Sweet Pussy 69 plays Crib. Who would have thought that, right?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
They never
funny.
connected
Probably
on that
69 years old though.
Maybe that's maybe what it
the
is.
sweetness might be from
It's
from the yeast.
Or it's the
so-
cat. Oh, that's this.
it's-
Yes,
yeah.
dang. Yeasty. Bacon bread.
Gnarly.
Sourdough.
I'm
Okay.
not afraid to go there.
Yeah, well, that took a turn for the worse.
Got to get off the porn talk sometime.
Got it.
Yeah, if you vomit in your mouth and we move past it, then we move past it.
that's-
Then we
whatever
got
it
it.
takes at this point.
Oh, there you are.
But you're living with your girlfriend now. That's been going on for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
you know what? And I just got well, you know this, you've met her, but I just got into a relationship recently.
Yeah,
After
congratulations.
thank you.
It's the best.
That's right.
I noticed your right bicep is getting a lot smaller than what it
Right,
used
they're
to be.
almost even now. It's different. It was
It's
bad.
shrinking right now. It's like it got popped.
Just about. So maybe you can give me some pointers of the do's and don'ts.
You
to
want
do when you're dating.
advice?
I want advice. Hey, yeah, she's living with you now, and
Yeah.
and you've been together for like
How many
at least
failed
a year and a half.
relationships have I had?
Well,
in
you,
the past?
you yeah, so what did you do this time that you didn't do all those other times?
I went for the younger one, right? Yeah, God, younger. It's a 10-year difference between Jen and I.
Yeah.
So I needed to wait to find somebody with the same maturity level that I did. And then,
nailed it.
and
So that's why
Jenna
you gotta
came-
go younger.
That's why you got to go younger, and then that was the key. So what's
Right.
the age difference that you're in?
2 years. She's younger, and
Dumper, it's not going to work.
or she'll be breaking up with me. She'll be like, "You're 16. You were 16, and that's not working
Yeah.
out for anybody."
Yeah. So
Like,
some
no,
of
she's
my
great.
advice for you would be clean your place. I haven't been there in a while, but I would just say that probably clean it again.
Okay, so like all those beer cans from 2011, just put that away.
Make it an assumption that it's probably dirty.
If you have a
Because-
hamper, make sure you use it.
Yeah.
No, a
Yeah.
hamper's
Love
good.
of God.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
Hamper's
not
good.
a holder of beer. It's
Ugh.
not what it's for. It's not a beer cooler.
Really, I've been
Or beer
dumping
empty
ice,
holder.
filling it halfway
Yeah.
through. Like, it's nobody goes in there. Nobody knows.
When he was contemplating moving out of his house, I went and cleaned his bathroom for him.
Oh Jesus.
It the
Oh, that
most
was amazing.
Disgusting thing I've ever came across.
I know.
And it was
It's pretty good.
gross. I don't have a cleanest place in the world, but I do like to go on cleaning tears. And I
Yeah.
crushed his house, and it took forever
Yeah,
because
bachelor
it was gross.
pad. It was pretty bad.
When was the last time before that you'd cleaned it?
Last time before that, I bought the house in 2008. You cleaned it in 2014. I'd say probably 2010.
Yeah. See.
Man, even I try and clean my bathroom at least twice a year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like you just come out of the shower dripping and you wash the floors? Is that
No,
how, or
like for the most part, like I keep the toilet scrubbed every.
Yeah,
every
well,
couple
the
weeks, you gotta
toilet,
scrub
yeah.
the toilet, but you get the splashes.
Yeah.
On the garbage can, on the floor, so
You gotta
help every
tarp
few
that
months.
off?
Plus, we don't have the
I'll
greatest-
just grab a mop and
It's
mop
not
around it.
Yeah.
And call it a
It's
clean
simple,
bathroom.
easy, right? It's not hard to do.
No.
Just maintain.
You know what?
That
I
maintain.
didn't have a mop up until I had a house party, and I think it was tail end of 2012. I had it was a good turnout. It was
You
actually
woke up with a mop in your ass.
50.
Today.
Hey, I could do this.
Even there, yeah.
I had 50 people over. There was booze everywhere, like shattering, falling on the floor. I walked all the way up to upstairs to my bedroom, and my feet were sticking to the floor the entire way. So it was the next day that I finally went out and bought a mop. I had to that was the first time I really cleaned the floors.
So proud of you.
I know, right?
That was great.
It's not bad.
Good for you for learning how to mop.
I know. I have a squeegee now. That's 30. I was 30 when I learned how to mop. That's absolutely right.
You should really. You got to work on. That's one thing.
Yeah.
That you should probably do.
Yeah, clean. It's been a lot cleaner now that I've been dating her. It's been a lot cleaner now because now you have somebody to impress. It's not just you going home being a fat piece of shit and just like crawling into your bed and not caring.
That's
true.
So now I'm at now, and it's fucking great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, you're recently single, eh?
Yeah, as of New Year's Day.
That's a
New Year's Day.
Yeah,
what happened New Year's Eve? There's a story there.
I was just an asshole, and I just broke up with my girlfriend on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It just happened to be the timing of it. It wasn't like.
So is that one of the things on your New Year's resolution sort of thing? Just like, hey,
be single.
I am now.
Yeah, that was your New Year's resolution.
Well, no, not necessarily, but it just kind of happened. That's the way it happened. It happened to be New Year's Eve. Just the straws on the camel's back kept piling and piling and piling, and finally, a little fly came and landed on it and just broke. So I had to walk away, kind of thing.
And then you took the fly home.
Yeah.
Had a bronze.
I had to walk the couple blocks.
It's a rebound, right? That's what you need to do. You got to bang a fly. You got to bang a fly. Well, welcome to the new single life. I wish I could say that I was with you, but I'm not, so I can't really say welcome. But I hope you enjoy it.
I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah. Get home from school, plop on the couch, throw on the PS3, and just get to it.
It's a good piece of advice when you get into radio. Is it's good to be single to start, especially because you want to work your tail off.
And you end up moving around a lot.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have.
You don't want to be tied down.
Yeah. You don't want somebody who feels like they're obligated to follow you around.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you start actually, Well,
Sorry,
that's okay. You know what? I've been single long enough, really.
Yeah, that's true.
2010 to tail end of 2014, 4 years. I've had my fill of single life. It's great. It was great, but it's nice to actually have somebody who cares about you back a little bit. Yeah. And then also, motivation too. That's the big thing.
Well, she's not in it for the money.
Well, clearly. Yeah. It's like dinner on me again.
George Clooney looks that there's a chance for that.
Well, that's why I'm going into radio. I'm not doing the TV side. That's not happening. That is not happening.
Yeah, you got a face for radio, right?
Yes, that's what my mother said. And fuck you, Jared.
Love you too.
Yeah. Have you met his mom, by the way?
No.
He's got a hot mom.
That's weird because that's your aunt.
She's your aunt.
Yeah, I know, but I can still throw out for an aunt. It's okay to say you got a hot mom.
Well, she isn't.
It's okay. It's
that's
so
weird. That's weird. That's weird.
No, it's not really that weird. She's not
really weird.
She's married in. She's not blood.
Oh, she's married in. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just window shopping.
Yeah.
You want to
see exactly?
So you want to be my cousin dad? You're really playing up this Mennonite stereotype.
Cousin dad.
Yeah. That is terrible.
Well, we'll have to get the sheet for you then and cut the little hole.
Oh my God.
Make sure that her dad's there watching. Make sure the marriage is consummated. And
are you gonna let your parents listen to this?
Oh yeah, this is going straight to my mom right now. Right
yeah.
After this,
I'm sorry, Auntie Karen, but you're a man. Now, so. It's true. Uncle Jerry, high five.
This is the weirdest coven conversation I've ever had in my life. This is
really weird. That's fine.
It's like we're Hutterites now almost.
He's on Facebook right now searching your mom.
She's listening live.
Hey, hands on the table.
She's tweeting me right now. So.
Well, that took a turn for the worst.
Sorry. I just had to throw that in there.
Hey, watch.
You come from attractive genes. It's unfortunate what happened to you, but
harms they're not bad. We got a good one.
It's not harm in it, right? So.
Yeah.
Oh, zing. A little zinger here.
I can be quick every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
To get a good breakfast in me.
No kidding. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Title of my sex tape.
What are you doing on your computer?
I'm just trying to see what's going on here. If I have any other
I really
questions.
hope it's porn because we got the camera right on it. So.
Oh no, busted.
He's looking at pictures of his mom.
Off the rails with Brody Jackson. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. Actually, speaking of which, are you down for hockey this weekend?
Friday night, right?
Yeah.
I didn't talk to Jenna about it. I will talk to her today.
No. Yeah.
She's cold. She's got a sick. Or got a sick.
She's got a sick.
She's cold. She's got a sick.
Yeah.
It was an early morning.
Use your words.
Words are hard. And so she is not feeling well, and she doesn't have a voice right now, so it's pretty hilarious.
So she can't say no, really?
No, she really couldn't.
Cool.
So I could say
9:45
we go on a hockey.
I see you tomorrow, babe.
Bye. Yeah, so I got to double check in with that, and I will find out more.
Awesome.
I'll ask when I get back today.
Okay, cool.
I have to ask for permission, so you don't have to do that anymore. It's the best.
No, I've been there though. I understand. I'm not going to break your balls on it because we've all been there. So.
Yeah, it's true. We're there quite often.
Yes.
You ask for permission for everything, pretty much now.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's the transition stage.
Yeah.
I'm learning that now slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like you're in elementary school again. Like, is it okay if I go to the bathroom? Like, I'm going to go to the
Actually,
kitchen.
my girl, she's really good, actually. She's, like, I'm used to that because I was in some bad relations prior. And, I'm used to checking in all the time, and always in the back of my head, and this is not healthy, it was always like, if I do this, will she get mad? You should never be worried about that. You should just do your thing. Like, and whatever you're doing shouldn't really be offending her in the first place, really. But if you want to hang out with your buddies once in a while, you shouldn't have to really run that by your girlfriend, Like, for, like, an everyday thing. But like, with the other girls I was dating, it was like, I was always afraid. But the girl I'm seeing now, she's great. Like, she's encouraging. Yeah, go do your thing, whatever. We'll tag up after or whatever. Like, she's really doesn't have the leash on.
Right.
Mind you, it's only been 2.5 months, so we'll see what happens down the road.
How's the sex life?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Amazing. How's yours, Brody?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Thank you. Yeah, it's
High five.
great. Right on. No, I'm just curious.
How are you doing, Jared?
That looked like a threesome to me. You got
If you bring my mother into this conversation.
No, we didn't. You did.
Mothers are
That's off limits.
So.
That's the off topic.
I'm curious if you've had the radio broadcasting boyfriend conversation with her yet. This is key. You should always do this.
The radio.
The broadcasting conversation. You're dating somebody in broadcasting.
Yeah,
Have you had that conversation with her?
Well, she brought it up to me where she's working now. She's working for the feds, CRA, and she was saying, this is kind of interesting, but...
CIA! Oh, my God!
CRA, not CIA.
CSIS.
Even worse.
That's
CSIS.
so cool.
At least it's not ISIS.
Yeah.
That's getting dangerous.
You don't want to date somebody in ISIS.
No.
Stick to CSIS. That's probably a better idea.
It's just a bomb waiting to happen.
Well, at least it'll be a short relationship anyway. So.
Might have dated that one out. I don't know.
Oh, no editing on me.
All unscripted. Here we go.
Anyways, have you had that conversation with her?
No, well, she had brought up like if we hit it off really serious, like if she's gonna she would have to disclose to her workplace that she's dating somebody who's like almost celebrity status. I said, I'm not gonna be celebrity status. That's cute. That's awesome. It's nice that she views it that way. But
yeah.
But no, fill me in on that. How does that conversation go?
Well, you just have to have it. You have to make sure that she's aware that pretty much everything's free game, because at any point in time, what you go through is what other people go through, right? So then that basically means that whatever your situation is in your relationship, it's relatable to your audience. So meaning that if one day you fail to do the laundry and she's all pissy at you because you didn't do the laundry and you have been slacking around the house, you're probably going to bring that up on air because everybody can relate to that.
Right.
Every guy has failed to do the laundry once.
Right, yeah.
You screwed up, but it's a great topic and it's something that people will engage and your listeners will engage in.
Yeah.
So now are you going to be able to bring that up, or is she going to get even more pissed at you because you brought it up?
I see where you're going with that, yeah.
Yeah, right? You're digging yourself a little hole.
Yeah. No,
and that's the thing. With broadcast, you have to say everything's open. Everything's also open for her, too, right? So if you look at somebody, Candace Wheeler, right?
Yeah.
Dave Wheeler's wife.
Okay.
She's game with being in the media.
Yeah.
She's totally okay with it, which is great for her because she's a sweet girl, she's a beautiful girl, and she's very funny. So it helps Dave in a lot of ways to be able to incorporate his wife into these things, and the fact that his wife is okay, that he can be dirty on air or raunchy on air or say any of these kind of...
Right.
Free game. It's open. You have to have that conversation with them ahead of time to make sure that when you get to that spot, that it's not going to create a big shitstorm.
Right.
And coming from a stand-up background for you, that should be an easy talk because... You be used to, okay, if something happens, it's going in my act.
Yes.
Or like you yell at me because I forget to do the laundry. Okay, that's a bit. That's going on.
Right, exactly.
So for you, that should be easy enough.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I guess you're coming from. Absolutely.
And the thing is, once you get down the line, you're having a co-host, then you also will have somebody on her side.
Right.
Right? Which makes it a little bit easier, too, because generally it'll be a female that can take take her angle and see her view. And they can tag along on it.
Yeah,
right?
well, you got to split it down the middle, right?
Yes.
Play the both halves sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I assume that would also kind of depict which station you're on. Like if you're on a rock station, you can get a little goofier with it.
But if you're on a rock station, you can talk about not getting laid last night.
Or anything, yeah.
But if you're on
my
like
station, you really got to keep it kind of happy-go-lucky.
Yes, yeah, there's no talking about getting laid.
So speaking with you, with you and your girlfriend, is there any I would assume obviously you've had the talk, or
we've talked.
You be in a boiling pot of water right now.
But it also helped because I was already had the job, already had the gig.
Yeah, so she kind of walked into it expecting.
Walked into it, right? And with the other situation, when the other relationship I was in, I was bartending and acting. then moving into radio with the girl.
Very different,
right?
yeah.
So she didn't kind of really understand it or see. She didn't see my side of it, and she couldn't. But Jenna walked into this one already knowing where I was,
Right.
and what I was doing and what it was about. But it still happened. It
Yeah.
still happened where I've come home and she's mad at me for something I said on there. It's happened a few times, right?
Yeah,
It's got to be expected.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And it's going to. You just have the conversation afterwards. Like
Now, is
grown-ups
there
and
anything
fun.
that you guys have that is not touchable on air? That she says that certain elements you can't talk about? I don't want you mentioning on the radio.
No, I don't think so.
She's
I don't
pretty-
think there is anything out there that I couldn't talk about specifically. If there was something that I was unsure of, I'd talk to her about it. The general rule of thumb for radio is don't ever talk about something that you don't want your mom to hear, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't really give a rat's ass. I'll say anything to my mom. So it
I
doesn't really
do.
matter.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's hopefully you have that, you can able to have that relationship. But at the same time, you have to understand that there are moms and there are people listening. So really, anything that I would say on air would be kosher with anybody, right?
Yeah.
Rather than just Jenna, it would be everybody.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there'd be stuff off limits
Right.
that I wouldn't talk about anyways. So,
But that could also mainly be station specific. Like
Yes.
it's your demographic you're
Yeah.
catering to, right?
Yeah.
Like on a rock station, like I said, you can anything under the sun, pretty much.
You don't want to talk about, cheese grating girlfriends or stuff like that, right? You can't. That's something that you could talk about on a radio station, but you wouldn't want to talk about
At a
on
certain-
country station.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Different limitations. Well,
Yeah.
we had Philly here. Was it 2 weeks ago? And he was saying that, and I didn't know this, but whenever they have like a caller, like a caller line that comes in, that's hot. It's a hotline. They come in and it's live. So if they're swearing or dropping F-bombs or whatever,
Yeah.
that's all unfiltered.
Yeah,
And that's some of the things they can get away with and whatever, and it's their kind of their demographic. Where
For
with
sure.
you, it's all kind of pre-recorded and then like off the air.
all of our calls are off air.
Yeah, off the
Yeah.
air, and then you put them on after.
Yeah.
This way, if you had to filter out something bad, it would be you wouldn't use it, and you go on to another call.
Well, you have
basically.
you have to think that there's a mom listening with her kids in
Exactly.
the car, and that
Yeah.
happens a lot with country music because again, family music, family genre, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to go on there and let somebody go off on air, which happens. Like you just wait till you see some of the phone calls that you're going to get when you're in radio. It's
I imagine, yeah.
the most random stuff ever that you get for phone calls. So
Yeah.
you take those live, you have no idea what's going to happen. And Philly and Rena and Wheeler, they can all get away with it because they come to expect it as a listener of City. You're expecting there to be toilet humor. So if somebody drops an F-bomb or an S-word and they write up to the CRTC and there's a complaint, it's almost expected that there is going to be a complaint, but it's also almost expected that that is what's going to be part of their show anyways.
Yeah.
So
they
it
are
could-
paying
gotta
the
kinda pick your
fines or
battles.
whatever.
Hold on.
If
Totally.
you know what to expect, don't complain about it.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
if you're watching 92 City and Wheeler fucks up and says shit on air, you're going to expect it. Don't write a letter to the CRTC. They're going to know about it anyway.
But they will.
So, yeah.
They will
Well, of
write
course,
letters.
yeah.
They write letters for everything.
There's certain
You know?
people, they'll just sit down and watch TV all day
Just to
looking
pick
for
out-
shit to complain about. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
there's that's a job for some people.
Well, look on. All you have to do is go onto Facebook, right?
Oh,
And if you go through your feed on Facebook, every 3 Facebook posts is complaining about something. It's a way for people to vent. It's an avenue for everyone to get their anger or their frustration out in front of everybody. They can
Right.
voice their opinion to everyone, and it matters all of a sudden. Meet that person in public, and they won't say a single word to you.
Oh, of course.
but
Well,
they
they're
can type about it and write about it.
they're
to
hiding behind a
everybody.
screen. Yeah.
Right? So that's exactly what happens with that. I wouldn't even want to, I would hate to work for the CRTC. I feel bad for those guys. Wouldn't want to know the amount of emails or messages or anything that they get with complaints.
Oh, they can
considering how
probably
much we complain.
swear in every language.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, like reading all that stuff. They're just learning all the good stuff. Yeah.
You've
Considering
got
how
to think,
much-
too, there's no way they go through every complaint.
I don't know how they could. I really honestly don't know how. If you think about how many radio stations and TV stations there are in this country and how many people react so negatively to something so simple.
Yeah.
For example, Sam and I yesterday were talking about speeding tickets and how you could get out of speeding tickets. How can you get out of speeding tickets? We wanted to know. So we had people calling, and they were talking about how they got out of speeding tickets. They've used their boobs, they've cried. They've done the excuse of my wife's pregnant and she's in the hospital, she's giving birth. They were all firing out excuses. Well, sure enough, we get a letter later. Shouldn't be promoting speeding. You shouldn't be promoting speeding. We weren't promoting speeding.
No, you were just
Asking how do you get out a speeding ticket?
Yeah.
What
You
are
know,
ways
so
you've gotten out of? Like,
we got a negative letter based on that.
Right.
On a something
Yeah,
of a simple
something so
conversation. But
minuscule.
again, you can take out, everyone hears what they want to hear. So no matter what, they can choose whether it's something
And
that pisses
twist
them off
the
or
words
not.
or whatever, yeah.
For sure.
I think
Yeah,
right
that's
now
everywhere.
the best thing to talk about would be how the hell do you get out of those tickets for parking in those clearance zones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there was almost 7,000 cars
Yeah.
over the weekend in Winnipeg.
Just under
got
7,000.
ticketed for being parked on snow routes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know they're even parked on a snow route because there's no signs. Like, I've lived all over the country. I think Winnipeg's the only place I've lived where I haven't seen no parking this time to this time, this month
They
to
should
this
be
month.
posting signs. Honestly, they should be posting signs.
Because when you call and complain, it's like, well, we
Yeah,
run
know
a
your
radio
zone.
blitz and it's advertised on TV. I'm like, okay, I don't watch TV and I hardly listen to the radio. How am I going to know? Because there's a guy in our class who got a $150 ticket for parking in front of his house, which is ridiculous.
You can fight it.
Yeah.
You can fight it, and they'll give it back, and they will. I mean, the city's not dumb at the same time as you can sit there and be. It's pretty obvious with $1 million being brought in a day
Yeah.
that it was a money blitz. There just was a money
of
grab
course,
associated with it. There's no way there wasn't. So of course you can. So they will give the money back to those who probably complain about it. But out of the $1 million that they took in one day, they're still probably going to take in half of it,
Oh, at
even with
least.
giving
At
back those
least
tickets,
half,
because
yeah.
people will be like, "I'll just pay.
Yeah.
Screw it, whatever. I'll
Yeah.
just pay it."
It's not
Oh,
worth
yeah.
the time
Yeah.
fighting
No,
in court.
not worth.
And the red tape, come down to Broadway. What hours do you work? This time. Yeah, that's when we need you. Come in only then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're only open Monday
It's
to
not
Friday,
worth
9
it.
to 5. So
No.
Yeah, you fight a $150 ticket, and you just lost $200 worth of wages. So really, do the math, right?
Yeah, yeah, and a lot
Sucks.
of people. It's something that you can easily. That's a good point. You know, you can. It's something that pops up that everyone wants to talk about and everybody wants to complain about. Yet at the same time, if somebody really wanted to do their due diligence ahead of time, knowing the fact that it snowed and you want to know your snow route, all you do is email the city and they'll tell you.
Yeah, we're going online.
You
It's
go
posted online.
You could tweet at City of Winnipeg and they'll respond to you within probably a minute. They're that good on Twitter
Yeah.
that they would respond to you right away. If you really wanted to, if you really want to protect yourself from a ticket, you could have done it.
Yeah.
And everybody could have done it.
Oh, of
You know,
course.
it's just
We complain about that, and then we complain about the streets not being plowed.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. You're right about the fact that they should post up signs, though. I don't understand why they don't. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But at the same time, if we really wanted to, probably could have gone out of your
there's
way to
always
look
ways.
at it.
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
always ways that if you know, you can find out.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, like I didn't know about tweeting the city of Winnipeg.
Oh yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
something else right there.
Tweet the city of Winnipeg. Tweet the police. They all respond really, really quickly.
Because I used to assume, okay, it didn't snow today, it should be safe to park. Oh God, no.
No.
No, not
No.
at all.
No, they'll still
because they
take
might
it.
be 3 days behind on plowing.
Yeah.
And that's when they finally come and do it. Like, I know
Yeah.
my street because I live right on the edge of the city in Transcona.
Okay.
So by the time they finally get our streets, it's normally 1 or 2 days.
You
later.
live really close to Matt's mom.
I
anyways,
must.
go ahead.
Yeah, around the corner.
You do. Yeah, right around the corner at that block there. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's her day job.
That's fantastic.
Spike.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not married to her. That's fine. You can do. He cannot say those things. I don't.
Well, I've never met your mom.
She's
So I can't
53,
really say
so
this.
hey, you want her? She's all yours. That's totally cool.
I've-
if you're into that, that's fine.
If I'm single long enough, I'll start moving
saw-
the range up. So.
Betty White was making out with everybody and everybody on Saturday Night Live the other night. So
Oh, the 40th
That's true.
the
anniversary,
age doesn't matter.
No.
No.
You know.
Well,
Doesn't
she
matter.
knows. She's like watching her life just like expire, so she's trying to get as much as she
She's
can.
92 and she's
That's
still
impressive,
going.
and the energy she's got.
Yeah.
Just
Would you?
stupid. Betty White?
Uh-huh.
Have you seen
Well, just for
pictures
the
of her
novelty,
from-
wouldn't you?
Have you seen pictures of her
Absolutely, I
from when
would.
she was in her 20s?
Oh yeah.
She was a knockout.
Oh, she's totally a knockout, and
that's-
she's hilarious.
But if you have those thoughts, like I would kiss her as a novelty, it's funny. But if I'm thinking about what she looked like when she was 20 back in like 1910 and getting turned on while I'm kissing her, that's a weird thing to have going through your head.
Especially with Betty White.
With Betty White, yeah.
She's like America's
Like, oh, I
filthy
used to be
grandma,
so
like-
hot in 1952. That's just weird. It's a weird thing to go through your head.
Do you mind if I paint the walls black and white so I can feel like I'm back in that time? Thank you.
Oh, you're
you're
so
right.
grainy.
I think she's going to be at the roast. There's an upcoming roast for Justin Bieber.
The Biebs.
And
Yeah.
he's
Heard
gonna-
about that, yeah.
Oh, God, he's going to get torn apart.
He's, you know
I
what?
kinda
Props
feel
to that
bad
kid,
for him.
man.
Yeah.
He's doing the right things now because he's trying to pull himself out of this crap that he dug himself into.
Yep.
And for him to do the Comedy Central roast is a good step towards showing humility.
Yeah,
he has
and then
to do that.
getting
right?
respect.
I don't know if
for
anybody
sure.
here watches Between Two Ferns.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Galifianakis, but
Absolutely.
he was on with that show with
That
Zach.
was funny.
Apparently, I didn't see this one, but apparently Zach took Justin like over his knee and gave him a spank.
Yeah,
Which
he
is
did.
awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that Justin's now at the point in his career where he's comfortable enough to know that he's a walking joke, where he can actually sit down and take it now, good for him. Because that must have been hard to get.
You got to kill an ego. Walking around when you're 18 years old, you have the biggest ego ever.
Yeah.
Right? You always do.
Well, you're
Nothing can
18,
destroy
millionaire,
anything, the
like,
best. And now and add on to that you can have anything and anybody
At any time.
anytime, any moment. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever you get towards you. I can tell you that I would have probably been an asshole too.
Well,
And
you
I think
are.
a lot of people. And I still am. I'm
So
not,
it's good.
I'm not making millions of dollars and I'm older.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do it for free.
Yeah.
That's got to
Yeah.
mess with you though. Like the
Totally.
success, especially at that young age. Like
Totally.
I went to school in a town just a few minutes away from where Avril Lavigne grew up, and this is like a year after she got famous.
She's a babe.
Nice.
Yeah, especially now she's with Ford Models. But
Oh, is she too?
yeah,
I
she's
didn't
an
know
actual
that.
model now.
Good for her.
But yeah, apparently, like it was
So
like a
good.
yearbook convention kind of thing. All the schools nearby, we got together to work on like yearbook idea kind of things. The people from her school, apparently, as soon as she got famous, she just turned into like, now, this is what
Yes.
I've heard. But she just turned into like a total bitch. Nobody liked her. She was apparently like a slut at the school, slept around. Again, this is just what I've heard. Don't want to go on record or anything, but like that young, that quick can change you kind of like that.
Oh, for
Apparently
sure.
she got her start singing in churches.
Yeah.
To go from like that to, okay, now I can have whatever I want, whoever I want kind of thing. Like that's got to mess with your head. a
Well,
little bit.
you know, I think it's harder for females in a lot of ways too, because people will say that, right? Apparently she was a slut. Apparently, you know, that you're going to hear that. You wouldn't hear that about a guy. You wouldn't hear the fact that the guy probably banged 8 or 9 or 10 girls in one class. You wouldn't hear about that kind of stuff.
No,
It's always
like, you'd
harder for a
mostly hear-
girl.
yeah, you'd mostly hear, oh,
Always.
he was a douchebag.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
just that. But
Yeah.
with a girl, there's so many more things. You can
So
pick
many
on.
different layers, and then you get on, and then on top of it, how women treat each other doesn't make it easier either. So for a girl to have success out of school and then leave that school, there's a lot of reasons why you can see resentment. Because if you're in that school, we'll never know what Avril probably dealt with there. But if
Right.
you are in any school and you see what a normal, typical female has to deal with on an everyday basis, you can understand why there's going to be resentment. And especially if they end up turning famous and they make a lot of money and they walk away and they can have anything they want, it's probably pretty easy to turn around and be a bitch right back to that school again.
Oh, yeah,
Because
easily.
of the negativity that was probably surrounding you when you were there.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with the negativity and the resentment from when you were there to looking forward. Now you've got, especially as a female performer, all this pressure on you now. Okay, you need to perform. You have to look pretty. You have to, roll out of bed perfect. Kind of
Totally.
thing. Like that's
Totally.
I can't imagine the amount of pressure that, Avril, since that's what we're talking about, like
Yeah.
that kind of pressure she must have gone through to get to where she is.
Oh,
now.
for sure.
And now that she's married to the guy from Nickelback, she's taking it
Oh, they're
that
divorced
angle
now.
too. So
So they're done.
Yeah.
They're over. So now she doesn't
So
have him
she's
anymore.
how
Oh, are they
old?
done?
And
Yeah,
she's
they're
had
done.
two
Yeah, done
weddings
so.
or marriages already.
Two.
And she's
marriages.
like 20 in her 20s.
No, she'd be 30 now, I think.
she'd
Really?
be
Yeah, I
just
think
about
she's just
30.
30.
She's just about
Oh,
my
wow.
age,
Yeah.
so just about 30.
'Cause she was
Wow.
dating.
But now, she's been
some
married
41.
to two Canadian frontmen, Derek from Sum
Woobly?
41,
From-
Wibbly
yeah,
or
from
something,
Sum 41,
and then Chad from
Chad Kruger
Nickelback.
from
so-
Nickelback.
See, now was that
Who's
a-
next?
Is that a downgrade?
At
Do you think that's
No.
a downgrade or a lateral move from them to Nickelback?
Oh, man.
the time, it was definitely a downgrade going from Sum 41 to Nickelback because Nickelback's always been a joke,
Yeah.
especially amongst Canadians. They're a running joke. Kind of
You know
thing.
why? Because Canadians hate success. They resent success. They hate it.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. It's depressing. That's what we live in a society in Canada. You have somebody who's successful, we'll try and knock them down with anything and everything that we can do. Because we don't want them to be more successful. We want them to be the little humble Canadian that the rest of us all are.
Yeah.
But it happens to everybody.
Yeah,
Gretzky moves away. He leaves. He goes to California. Everybody in Canada hates him. Boo, you suck. You left it. And they're upset. Even though he does the whole tear thing and the cry thing. I don't know how many people I've met who are right off the bat. Gretzky's an asshole. How do you know Gretzky's an asshole? Have you ever met Gretzky? Have you talked to Gretzky? No, but I heard from this guy, from this guy that he's an asshole. Boom, there it is. Nickelback, one of the biggest bands that Canada has ever put out.
Yeah.
Everybody resents them. And it's funny, because you'll be sitting at a bar, and you'll be hanging out with somebody, and a Nickelback song will come on in the background, and you'll see this.
Yep.
And they'll still be talking to you every single time. They're moving their head. They're bopping to the beat a little bit, and they're chatting with them. And they're like, oh, by the way, I hate Nickelback. Yeah. You know, they'll throw that one out there. I remember seeing that at the Grey Cup. They were on performing at the Grey Cup. And there's people who are like, I hate Nickelback. Why is your toe tapping?
Shut up.
Shut up. Nickelback sucks. You know, you have all, and so it's a running joke now. But again, they resented him. Same thing with Justin Bieber. People resented him because he was successful. Avril Lavigne, we see it. Resent him. Tragically Hip. They're amazing. They're the best because they've stayed right here in Canada, been Canadian the entire time. Now we can love the Tragically Hip. But if the Tragically Hip, I guarantee you, were to have made it big in the States and were to become international acts, we probably would have hated them.
Probably.
Yep. Which is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
But it's true.
I think it's like a Canadian thing. Like, if you leave Canada, oh, we hate you. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're popular, you're great, stay here, you're ours.
Very much so. Yeah.
Unless you're like Celine Dion, then you're like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. You go. Yeah. You leave. No, I think it's a lot of it. It's a lot of us, the fact that we are very proud Canadians, but at the same time, we love everything about. I mean, what do Canadians do every single day that they do better than anything else? Is compare themselves to Americans, right? Well, we're not America. Well, I can go overseas and I can hang up my Canadian flag on the back of my backpack and everybody's going to love me. They love, you know, you hear that all the time.
But it's
brag
true.
about that stuff.
That is true.
It's true. It's true.
Great.
But at the same time, you're going to go into in any country overseas and they might resent you just as much as they resent an American, or it could be the other way around. They might love an American just as much as they love you. So it's a funny thing that Canadians have. It's an inferiority complex that we all suffer from, is that we're the little brother up top, so we don't want big brother down there to be taking all of the stuff that we got and making it big. Tim Hortons expands into the States and people up here are livid about it.
Losing their minds.
Freaking out about it. You're like, oh, okay, wait, it's successful and it's going to the States. And I know it's an American company that bought it, but you can't sit there and give them a little bit of, some props to Timmy's for making it down there. That's awesome. But you can't do it because we can't lose anything, our Canadian identity, to the States. We don't want to send them anything. Yeah. It's ours.
That's true. It's almost being like a sober alcoholic, where we think we're above other people, so we push the fact that, we're better because we think we're better. It's like the opposite end of it. What if that whole Canadian flag thing was like a ruse, like invented by the Europeans? Like, watch, we tell them we put a flag on, we'll like them better. Oh, here comes another fucking Canadian coming up. Yeah. Hey, Francois, watch this. Come for a beer. I'm going to piece in his cup.
Could be, right?
That'd be a funny joke.
I've traveled overseas with the Canadian flag on my backpack, and let me tell you, it makes a difference.
It does, eh?
Yeah, go to a restaurant one day without it. You get ignored at the table. You come in with the backpack, make sure you put it down next to you so they can see the Canadian flag. Oh, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Especially like France is big. France, Belgium, and Germany were really big on the Canadian love. So,
right.
Which is great. But with the other thing too, getting back, I think like with getting angry when something Canadian gets big in the States, I think it's because the way I look at it is the Canadian-U.S. border is kind of like one-way osmosis. Mm-hmm. The U.S. culture bleeds into Canada so much that we almost kind of lose our identity as Canadians. So when something big Canadian happens, we kind of want to keep it. And if it starts going back the other way over the border, we kind of get pissed off.
Oh, totally. But I got to wonder, like, what is really the Canadian identity, though?
We're losing it because of...
But what was it ever? I mean, it was all really the same in so many ways. Well, they're the Brits or
King
French.
Of both.
Were they British or French? That was the exact same thing that was happening in the States. Yeah. And I know other than Spain, but it was the exact same thing in both countries. I mean, we're the same people that come from the same places.
Yeah.
And even when you're talking about immigration, it's the same people coming from the same places into both countries. So in so many ways, I understand that, it's like, we feel like we're losing a Canadian identity. But what is the Canadian identity? And how really is it so much different than the American identity when it's all the same people from all the same places in the beginning of it? It really is.
But that's the thing, you put those imaginary lines between two pieces of land, and that's what you get.
Yes.
You're going to get war. You're going to get people arguing, well, I'm better than they are because they're on that side.
Right.
The fact that the border exists is that's what separates us as people and identities. That's it. The border. If you
it's
remove
a lot different
the border,
than in Europe. It's not like religion is separating you, right? Whereas Europe seems like the lines are drawn by, a lot of it is religion that has drawn so many of those lines in history.
Yeah.
We were past that point when both the U.S. and Canada were created. We were past the religion point, and it was now towards nations just trying to expand, right? So towards England and France trying to expand. So that's what we're based on. So we are so much like them that we hate them at the same time. It's kind of funny how that works, So it's like, why can't we just learn to love each other a little bit more?
It's weird.
Man?
The borders,
hippie mentality like that.
Yeah, it's
why
like
can't we be friends?
Yeah, totally, exactly.
Like I love everything, and for sure there's differences. There's always going to be differences between Canadian and Americans. The differences in how you're raised, or the people that you were surrounded by when you were growing up. There's always going to be things that make Canada different than the U.S. But at the same time, in the end of it, we all again come from the same place. Be proud of what you got. If you're gonna have a big guy coming up next, like Dallas Smith, who's breaking into the country scene down there in the States, and if he makes it big, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Dallas Smith is the next hot thing in country music. Are we gonna hate him because all of a sudden he's successful in the States? Because he was with Default, it's gonna be an opportunity for him to be big again, and we hated him when he was Default because they were big in the States. Are we going to do that again? I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair.
No.
And I don't think it's right for us to sit there and knock on Nickelback. And I don't know when that started happening because I don't know. I could ask my parents and say, did that ever happen with the Guess Who? No, everyone loved the Guess Who here in Canada. They loved them.
Yeah. But is country music kind of exempt from the hate? Because did Shania Twain get all that hate when she went
No, down? And you're right. But Shania's a babe.
But
so was Avril. You're right.
And
she was getting a lot of hate. You're right. No, maybe it's. I think that in a lot of ways, country music is exempt just because the fans of country music. They're not so.
That's kind of what ties them together.
The personalities seem to be more open and like happy, like you were saying earlier. Like, hey, how are you? Like a hug. Whereas Buck Cherry just kind of sit down and be like, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
So that might have
makes it a little bit easier. But to have a guy like when people knock on Nickelback so often, which everybody does, I mean, I'm not a fan of Nickelback by any means. I'm not going to go buy an album and listen to it, but I'm never going to knock them, ever. How can I knock somebody a band that has been so extremely successful and has done so much for Canadian music? They've done tons. The guy owns 604 Records.
And just
how many
the way
bands has he pushed out?
Just the way he's influenced other bands too.
It's
like
crazy.
Theory of a Dead Man.
Totally.
Like he thought that was Chad's kind of pet project, wasn't it? Getting them out there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, the guy's got. He's got a studio in his house. He's got a hockey rink in his basement. He's got a helicopter that takes him anywhere he wants downtown. I mean,
that's a dream.
He's living life. He totally is. But he's done a ton, and he has 604 Records is doing a lot for country music, right? That's where Dallas is with. It's 604 and Universal. So, Chad has done a ton for Canadian music, and everyone still rides them. Yeah. Still riding them to this day. And you're like, come on, it's really not that bad.
Well, it's almost like the cloning machine that he used to spit out all the same bands. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it has the same sound. So in that sense, just don't listen to it.
Well, the other thing is that Canadians are at fault for being Canadians at the same time. CRTC will set out regulations as to how much music you can listen to. Well, when Nickelback was smart and was pushing out singles left, right, and center, aware that you have to play a certain percentage of Canadian CanCon, right? So Canadian music. So if you have to play a certain amount, we might as well be what they have to play.
Yeah.
So let's fire out singles left, right, and center. Let's get Theory of a Dead Man, Default. Let's get all of our bands here from 604 and push everything out, album after album, song after song, so that we can be played this often, be rich, and be successful. And that's exactly what happened. So,
but the oversaturation probably is one of the things that led to the hate.
Yes, yeah,
like
you
turn on the station and you can expect to hear Nickelback.
Well, you could turn on a station like City Power, and you would hear Nickelback, and then you could turn on Clear, and you would hear Nickelback. Because they could cross genres, so that frustrated people even more, and especially rock fans. Okay, rock fans and people who love rock music, it's like they're rock, they're mine. You can't move anywhere else. You can't go anywhere else. You are my genre, right? It's not like Taylor Swift, who's hopping right now from country, swinging over into pop music. It's not like that. You're rock. You're only rock. Why in the hell are you softening up? And why are you singing all these little pussy songs? This is lame. Why are you now on Virgin Radio instead of on Power? You're Nickelback. You were rock. Silver Side Up was a great album. What happened to that stuff? You got so successful that you beat out the genre and you were able to go into other genres. That's like, holy crap, you're in Elvis territory, man. That's massive that you can do something like that. But instead of giving them props for it, you reject them because you're angry that they've left your
Succeeded.
genre. You're not the same band that I liked. You were a great indie rock band. Now you're making millions of dollars. Go F yourself. You know?
And for rock fans, their favorite bands don't even have to switch genres for them to hate them.
Yeah.
Like, look at Metallica. All they did was cut their hair, and everybody flipped out. Like, everybody just started hating Metallica because they cut their hair. Oh, they're fucking sellouts. Fuck you guys. I'm done with Metallica now. Like,
Well, that and the whole Napster debate, right? That's where it stemmed from.
Like, I was always a Metallica fan. They cut their hair. Yeah, whatever. They did
But even in
they
that
did the
sense,
album S&M. They performed with an orchestra. Loved it.
Cool.
Right.
A lot of people gave them flack for that, but it sounded fucking awesome.
It did. It really did.
It was awesome. And I remember I had the DVD so I could watch it. It was awesome. Cut their hair, no problem. Saint Anger comes out, they completely change their sound. That's when I got off the train. Because Lars, I don't know, he did something to a snare drum and just started sounding like shit.
that's it for you.
Yeah, they brought in the new bass player. Well, they had to because the other guy left to join Voivod or whatever.
Right.
So they brought in the new guy. Can't remember his first name, but his last name Trujillo, or however you pronounce it. But the way
Trejo,
watching
it's
watching him play bass pisses me off because he does what I call a crab walk, where he's like down, like this, playing like this, walking on the stage, and it just. I was done with Metallica.
He's
after
feeling
that.
himself there.
But yeah, after that album, I was done with Metallica. They were my favorite band. Like I had. In my high school bedroom, painted in blacklight, Ride the Lightning, the guy on the friggin' on the electric
You got a
chair.
black light in your,
Yeah.
in your
my
room when
God.
you're in high school?
Yeah, black
So
light.
you know where not to step.
Didn't work for that. Special filter for that. But yeah, I had...
Mom's coming in to do laundry. Turn off the black light!
Mom, get out. Knock first.
It's like there's polka dots all over here.
Oh, getting hot's the worst.
Who painted your room?
But yeah, my dad was cool. He's like, if you're living here, paint the walls. So it was like
So he
this
did.
big. Like, just took up the whole wall. Blacklight paint, glow-in-the-dark paint and everything. Like, I was that big of a Metallica fan. They changed their sound. I was
You're
done.
off, you're
I was
gone.
done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, rock fans were a little fickle.
Well, I can understand why in so many ways. I mean, that's your band. That's what you listen to. And you're going, what are you doing now? Why are you doing this to me? And you see...
You identify them with
Yeah.
them so much that
Yeah.
when they change, they're like, this doesn't represent me anymore. So,
And I think you have that right as a fan
Yeah.
to not like their music anymore, for sure. And I think a lot of people have that for somebody like Taylor Swift, who's going, okay, now she's gone into pop. Now the country fans are like, hey, you're gone into pop. Like, but it's different going, I'm not going to listen to your stuff because I'm not a fan of it. But when you come back to country music, I'll check out your stuff again because I like your country music, right? It's the different thing of going, all right, I dislike your music or I hate your music. I dislike your music basically or dislike you as an artist right now because you are playing different music that I don't like. But I'm not going to hate you as an artist so that I'll never listen to you again.
Yeah.
If you come back to country, I'll give you that opportunity again and I'll listen to it again. Right, and I think that a lot of people missed that boat and just went directly to hating Nickelback, right?
Yeah.
You
well,
know,
she had a soft transition, though. I mean, like a look at a lot of her later stuff, it kind of was very poppy.
it was very popular.
And
yeah.
the same songs are being played on QX and on Virgin, right? Like two very different stations with the same artist, same track even. So she kind of did it kind of smart. I
but
think.
country
Slow.
and pop's always been like
Yeah,
almost
it's pretty
two
close.
different
Well,
sides of the
now-
same coin. Like there's always been a lot of straddling between pop and country.
Totally.
Shania,
Yeah.
Shania was
big,
Yeah.
the
huge.
epitome of it, right? Like,
Well,
it
because
really
country
was.
country has that rock element, and because it has the country element, it sounds kind of poppy. So really, you're covering so many different bases.
Well, I even had somebody come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Cotton Eye Joe, yeah, the Rednecks, they were country." No, they weren't.
no,
they
they
were
were
not
dance
even
music.
close.
They were dance
Exactly.
music.
But people were assuming that they were country because they were called the
one
Rednecks.
song, yeah.
And they sang a
that
song
title was
called Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
That sounds country. They must be country.
It's not a country song.
Also
It's not a
known as
country
the
band.
one of the Transcona songs. Cotton Eye Joe and Jump On It, I think, are exclusive to Transcona's
But
bars.
those were the two songs they played at every school dance.
Yep.
When I was growing up, everybody would dance to.
Yep,
There was
that's true.
no getting around it.
That's right.
Cotton Eye Joe and Jump On It. Or whatever, My Pony or whatever the hell this
Ah,
song
Oh, that's a very
yeah.
different
You know what
song.
song we're talking about
Amazing.
now, right?
On it,
Do it, ride it. my pony.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep. I always thought that was a dude actually singing that part like the entire time.
I still think it's a dude singing that part.
It's like, that'd be just a pain in the butt. Well, you'd think that they would probably just copy the track and then just keep going, but I wonder if live he's just sitting there the entire time.
The guy's like just like spraying the binocular.
It's probably like the Roadrunner. You do it once, record it. They use it for 20 years.
It's a lot easier that way.
Yeah. There we go. Well, starting with Shop Top and ending with Pony. That's an interesting.
That's what
we're up over an hour now, so we should probably start calling it.
That's impressive.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Brody, thank you so much for coming.
Hey, no worries, man. Anytime. It's always a pleasure. Good luck in the careers.
Thank you very much.
If you need any advice, talk to your mother.
Oh God. Here we go.
Yes, you'll have to give me her number. Apparently, she's around.